Hi. I just wanted to have a quick chat about what is probably the thing that I most often get asked to help owners with, and that's dogs who don't recall. Now, unfortunately for us, the current kind of trends in training almost doom you to have a problem with recall, because if you think about it, you get your new puppy and right away you're told about the importance of socializing it. But nobody really tells you how to socialize it properly. But you're told to introduce it to as many people as possible, to introduce it to as many dogs as possible, so that he becomes social. But what we do is we confuse socializing with overexposure. So what we actually do is massively overexpose them. Every dog they meet in the park, we encourage them to spend time playing with it. We then take them from dog to dog. We find groups that will meet up at the same time every day, so our dog can spend loads and loads of time playing with other dogs. We encourage every stranger he meets to stroke him and give him treats to make sure that he's as social as possible. But the problem with that is, what are we actually doing with our dog when he's out? We're not doing anything. All of the pleasurable things he has happen with someone else. So not surprising, by the time the dog's 5, 6, 7 months old, you're the least interesting thing in the park. If you could ask your dog to write a top 5 of things he goes to the park for, most owners wouldn't even be on the list. He'd say chasing squirrels, following strange scents, scavenging for food, looking for foxes, chasing birds, and top of the list would be playing with other dogs and meeting new people. You're just the means of getting him to the park. That's what he'd say your purpose was for. You're just the one who gets me there. Once you're there, I don't even remember that you're there. I forget all about you. So of course we end up with dogs who don't recall. Here's a funny thing. With our children, we say to them right when they're small, don't talk to strangers, don't take sweets from strangers, don't have anything to do with strangers. But it doesn't stop them being social, does it? They're all still social. They grow up being social. Why is that? It's because we teach them who it's appropriate to be social with. We introduce them to people and we encourage them to be social with the people that they know or that we already know. But everybody else is just seen as a stranger, and yet our children don't end up antisocial. Well, of course today some of them do, but most of them don't. And it's the same with my dog. I don't want my dog to be social with every dog. I don't want him to think of every dog as his friend or every person. I think this is one of the reasons why dog theft is so easy nowadays, because we make them all so friendly with strangers. Instead, what I do with my dog is I'll introduce him to people that I know, and I'll encourage him to interact positively with those people and they to interact with him. But everybody else, I want him to think as a stranger. I want him to be ambivalent to people on the street. I don't want him to go up to people in the park, because then I'll have a dog who runs up to strangers, which puts him in a very dangerous situation because of the Dangerous Dogs Act or because he could be stolen. So I don't encourage my dog to play with other dogs, and I don't encourage him to spend time with strangers. I don't want him to play with other dogs because, of course, he'll learn that other dogs are much more interesting than I am. I can't play with him the way that other dogs can. Well, I could, but I'm just too lazy. I'm not going to roll around in the mud and chase him aimlessly around the fields all day. So I encourage my dog to be social with other dogs, which is that if he meets one, and that he shouldn't go running off half a field away to meet that dog, but if that dog comes over to him, I want him to be social. And all that means for me is I want him to sniff them to sniff him. Nice to have met you. Then I encourage my puppy away and I play with him. I'll get his tuggy toy out and I will play lots of tugging, fun, exciting games with him. But I don't want him to play those games with other dogs, because of course I'm going to end up with a dog then who doesn't recall. So if you have a dog who doesn't recall, one of the first things you do is look at what draws him away. What is it that makes him not want to come to you? And if the answer is other dogs or other people, try and get him to spend less time with them and more time with you. They didn't ask you to get a dog. That was your choice. So step up and be fun. Young dogs want to have fun, and they should be having that fun with you. And if they're not having fun with you, or if you're not prepared to make that effort to be fun with them, you probably should have got a fish.